Hey everyone, I'm so jazzed because today, I get to hang out with my friend Jen Santos and you get to watch. I'm Deborah Eckerling, creator of the DEB method and event outcome optimization. And the only thing I love more than goals, or as much as goals, is events. And wouldn't you know, my friend Jen is also all about the events. And I'm really psyched for Jen because she's starting this wonderful new academy, EventTech Academy, in January to talk about event goals. Gold star, Jen. So today we're just going to be talking about the Academy. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. And if you have questions later, put them in the chat because we'll be watching for the replay as well. So Jen.
Yeah.
How excited, first of all, how excited are you about EventTech Academy? And second question is, what the heck is EventTech Academy? And we'll go from there.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you so much for hosting me for this chat for tonight. And as Deb mentioned, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. So I have been doing events and event tech specifically for about 10 years. And 20 years before that, wait, that math, I didn't like the way that worked out, but it's also very true. I spent doing IT project management, development. I came up very much through the consulting development route and then found myself in event tech. And what I discovered is that I absolutely love event tech. And then, as we all know, about 3 years ago, we entered into this pandemic and event tech just got completely turned on its head. We went from all these in-person events flying around the globe to having to deliver virtual events, like literally on a dime. I remember having to rejigger the entire event I was working on in basically a matter of days so that we could keep registration open and so that we could deliver our first virtual event. And what we discovered is that it's a completely separate skill set. And also we discovered that coming out of the pandemic, that actually there is a huge, ginormous need for event tech professionals. The event industry kind of fell apart over the past few years. A lot of people left. We're trying to get a lot of people in a very short period of time that don't really have a good events industry background. And they're trying to learn a whole bunch of new tech and kind of with the digital revolution, the use of VR, trying to create community in all the ways that event tech is evolving. What we're discovering is that we really kind of need some standards in the industry, and we really kind of need some best practices and a way to bring the event tech community together. And with all of that, what the event tech community is, or the Event Tech Academy is, the Event Tech Academy is a training academy and community for event tech project managers. In January, we are launching our very first cohort, the EventTech Foundations program. And the EventTech Foundations program is for aspiring event tech project managers, people that want to transition into the industry, or maybe it's for people that are already in the industry, but they're over on the logistics side, and they really want to learn how the tech side works and how the two sides fit together. And so it's a 6-week cohort-based program. It's online delivery via Zoom with a live weekly call. And then a 90-day mentoring program tacked on to the back end of that to help people with that ever so tricky transition between classroom and kind of the workplace. So really long answer to that's what the Event Tech Academy is, but that's how it came into being.
I don't expect short answers from you, so we're good. But events are changing again, right? So the end of last year, everyone was like so excited. I get to see people in real life again. And I feel like people are getting back. It's not like virtual went away, but I feel like people are getting excited about virtual again.
Yeah, definitely. People are getting excited about virtual. I mean, we still don't really kind of know how the pandemic, because we're still in the pandemic, but really how it's going to end. You know, masking mandates are coming back. They're going away. They're coming back, they're going away. So there's part of that, but what we're also discovering is that going to digital offered a lot to event organizers. So for event organizers, what they found is that they actually end up with really good metrics around their attendees. You can have really good detailed tracking of what they're doing, exactly what their attendee journey is before, during, and after, something that's a little harder to track when you have somebody with a badge walking around a site. And then the other thing, which is a topic near and dear to my heart, is the fact that events are now a lot more accessible to a lot more people, because there's a lot of people that can't attend in-person events for any of a variety of reasons. You know, financial, family, travel, they need some sort of accommodation that they're not going to be able to get. I remember reading some of the first evaluations when we offered the first virtual event that I worked on, and people were like, I've never been able to go because I have a physical disability that keeps me from traveling. And I'm now going to be able to double my rates because I have attended this training, and thank you so much. I mean, like, I am here for that and so much more. And so I think that we're probably never going to go back to strictly in person. I think we're probably going to end up in this hybrid world where we have these like in-person activations, but then we have virtual that supports it. And so everybody can take part in an event in the way that it works best for them. That's a huge challenge to event organizers, and that's a huge challenge for event tech professionals to figure out how to enable the tooling to make that happen.
Awesome. And why I love virtual events is you get to go to more of them.
I know.
You could spend the same amount of time, because I used to say, a good networking goal is one event a week. That was pre-pandemic. And now you could do like 3 because all the time that you would spend, and let's just talk local alone, all the time you spent driving and parking and being there, you can definitely double and triple in the same amount of time. So not only is it wonderful for accessibility, it is like the best time management hack. Oh, don't go there. Especially with all these wonderful things coming out in making it welcoming for people who are attending virtual.
Yeah. And there's a huge financial advantage as well. When you think about a plane ticket, right? A plane ticket can be a couple $1,000s. Hotels are hundreds of dollars a night. Food requirements. What if you have, a pet you need to board? You're away from work. You need to take time away from work. When you're doing a virtual event, a lot of people, we know this, we have the data. They tend to watch a virtual event on one side of their screen, and they're doing their work on another. Nobody wants to admit it, but we have the data, and so we know it's true. And so, that's the time savings is huge. We also see a lot of people coming in from alternate time zones. Like, we'll see a lot of people for a US-based event during, we'll tend to see people showing up in their like before work or after work hours based on where they live around the world. So the EMEA time zone will oftentimes show up to the US-based events because that's their evening. They have a couple of hours maybe after they put the kids to bed, and they can sit and they can consume some sessions after their workday.
So it's win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the Academy. So because there's so many more events, they need people who can work the event. So that is what the value you're providing, is helping people get certified in this kind of project management.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. So, I kind of have a couple of different goals here. One is to just increase the number of people that know how to do event tech, teach the lingo, teach the timelines, get people accustomed to kind of the crazy world, crazy in the best possible way, the crazy world that is events and events tech. So get people so they can kind of hit the ground running at the end of the 6 weeks. So that's one goal. The second one is to increase the diversity of the industry all around. That's a topic, again, near and dear to my heart, is making sure that we have a nice, diverse set of people working on events, because it makes people better and it makes us think more about the different accommodations necessary when you have somebody producing the event that also needs that type of accommodation, whatever it may be. And then the third reason is really, I am all about community and having community, and I really want to start building a nice, solid community that can share best practices and can learn about event tech together.
And community is, I don't want to call it a buzzword, because it isn't. It is just a word that people say a lot of the time. But online community, especially, you and I worked virtual before, like way before. Way before the pandemic. And even 2.5, 3 years into it, people are still getting used to it. But I think the online community, the way that you bring people together, that's really what sets events apart anyway, right?
Yeah. That's a lot of times why people go to an event, right? Like, you see people, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to my 500th, whatever this event might be. It certainly feels that way sometimes when you read the social streams. And so they do, and it's like, hey, the same 20 people are going to get together because we always go out together on Monday night, and we always go to this restaurant, and we always go to do these things, and they build these communities. And I want to make sure that event tech professionals have the same thing so we can bluntly learn from each other and support each other. And not just learn how to deliver the event tech, but also learn how we can deliver the event tech and deliver events without having to choose between having a life and having a career.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about that work-life balance.
Yes.
So the Academy is great because if you want like an extra side hustle, or it could be another full-time gig, or let's say you're a teacher and you've got summers when you don't work, right? I think I just answered the question for you. Why is this like career path such a nice flex opportunity?
Well, you did answer the question for me, but I will elaborate on it because you can't stop me from talking.
Nor would I want to.
It is because events tend to be very, very cyclical. There's kind of like a fall event like bump, and then there's a spring event bump or a summer event bump. And so it tends to be nice and cyclical. And the nice thing about events is you can kind of go and do a push for a couple of months, but then you know that it's going to end, and then you kind of get this downtime where you can relax a bit more. And so what I have found historically in the industry is that there are a lot of people that will do events and they will choose, you know what, I'm only going to do events in the summer because the summer event season works the best for me. Or I'm only going to do the fall events because my kids have gone back to school, but it's kind of like a nice extra bump of money for me. And so there's a lot of flexibility that comes with being an event tech professional. And you can also kind of choose how many events you work on at a time, particularly if you're not a full-time employee and you choose to be a contractor. You can be like, nope, I'm taking 3 and my plate's full. Thank you very much. So, yeah.
So it's work-life balance goals.
Yeah.
Because of course, I have to bring goals into it.
Of course.
You look at your life and you can either fit it into your life as it is, or you could just go full throttle, because I'm guessing there's plenty of work for everybody.
There is plenty of work for everybody. And we were talking about kind of taking on the number of projects, and I can imagine that there's some event people that may be watching this going, have you never actually done an event, Jen? Clients can be a bit demanding, and I understand that. And so I do want to take a minute and speak to that. Because as the project manager, one of the advantages of being the project manager is to a certain extent that we get to help manage the pace of the project. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to solve for in the Academy, is help people understand kind of, if you're coming in new into events, like this is the normal pacing. These are the things that are kind of normal gotchas that are going to come up. This is how you can manage your work back. Here are some best ways to manage scope and statements of work, so that when the inevitable change comes up, here's how we can handle it in a way that doesn't mean that we don't get to sleep at night. So, and I think that there's a lot of best practices that can be learned and adopted. And sometimes it's not always popular or easy, but that doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do.
Got it. And so what you created, that doesn't exist. As far as you know.
As far as I know, it does not exist. And from talking to colleagues in the industry, it does not exist.
Why? I mean,
your guess
it does now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different training programs around the events industry, and around other topics in the events industry. There's a lot of event strategy. There's a lot of kind of branding, event experience, but specific to event tech, other than a lot of the SaaS providers that do their own training academies for their product, there is not, that I've been able to find, an academy that's specific to teaching event tech project management. And I don't know why, except maybe that it's not easy. I don't know. So I'm excited to offer mine, because what I'm doing is I'm actually putting together an event. It's called Coffee Palooza, because coffee. And it's basically taking a 6-month project schedule, condensing it down into 6 weeks, and walking somebody through from event brief through to event delivery, using a mock event, using real event tech, You're going to set up a session scheduler, a basic one, set up a basic registration, set up a basic exhibitor site, those sorts of things. So anybody going through the program really gets to see the ebbs and flows of how an event works. And they're going to have some hands-on experience with an event tech tool so they can come out of that kind of having almost done a dry run in an event without having an actual client breathing down their neck. And then, of course, I'm there every single week and in the community at all times to answer any questions that come up.
Well, it sounds amazing. What didn't I ask you? And then in a minute, I will ask you to tell people where they can learn more about it. But let's do the what did, so don't answer that question yet. What else about the Academy do you want people to know?
I think what I want people to know also about the Academy is that I am in part hoping to work with event delivery organizations and client organizations and agencies that deliver events to help them onboard their teams. I know a lot of times events organizations are so busy just delivering the event that they don't have time to properly onboard their staff. They may or may not have good solid training programs in place. And so I'm looking for these organizations to partner with them so I can provide that training for them. And provide it so they don't have to take their best people off of their projects. So they don't have to be losing that revenue because they've taken their best people off their projects. And they'll feel confident that when their team members come out of the program, that they've all learned kind of the same things in the same way. And they'll be able to adopt a common vocabulary and a common way of working.
Cool. So it's not just like a one-off. You can actually bring this into businesses and enlighten their team and basically save them a ton of money because they don't have to hire you.
Basically, yeah. How cool is that, right? And if you look at the average cost of onboarding an employee is $4,100. According to, I think it was Sherm that did this. Anyway, $4,100 just for onboarding. This isn't hiring costs. This isn't ongoing. It's just the onboarding process. It's $4,100. And data also says that somebody that has gone through a formal onboarding program is 58% more likely to be with the company at the end of 3 years than somebody that hasn't. And so when you take that data and you kind of compare that to what I'm offering with the EventTech Academy, I would like to believe that the value proposition is there, to be perfectly honest.
And it's also offering opportunities within companies for people to grow and be of better value to the company, which, I'm all about, setting the goals, living the life you want. And if you're working for a company and there's something that sparks within you, why wouldn't the team leader want to take that enthusiasm and educate them more and keep that valued employee within the ecosystem?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Where can people learn more about EventTech Academy?
Well, thank you. So you can learn more at eventtechacademy.com. Thank you for putting that URL up on the screen. The site is up. I have a full syllabus around the course, all 6 weeks broken out in detail. I talk more about the event delivery, course delivery format. And the registration will be open. Today is currently December 15th. Registration will be open in the next couple of days.
Ooh.
So yeah, so please go ahead, take a look around the site. If you have any questions, you can get a hold of me. I'm happy to hop on a call, explain anything else about the Academy. I know that this is new and different generally comes with a lot of questions. And so I'm here to answer them, which is in part why I'm here with my good friend Deb tonight.
Well, I think it's cool. But of course, why would you have me on this conversation if I didn't say that? No, I love how events bring people together, but I love that there's so much opportunity within the industry. And it's so cool and fun to watch this grow. So
Thank you.
What final, I like to leave people with a final thought. So Jen, what final thing do you want people to know?
Let's see. Oh, that was a tough one. And I knew you were going to ask me this, and yet
should
I
know.
was not prepared. The final thing I want people to know is that I love events, and I think there's so much about events and event tech that is just a metaphor for life. And if you can get good at running an event, I mean, yeah, the sky's the limit.
So what you're saying is if you know how to run an event, you know how to run your life.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think so too. Well, it's all about the goals and the planning and embracing events. And if you love events and ever wondered what it would be like to be on the tech side, this is a great opportunity. If you don't love your job, but you need to find something and you want to figure out what's next for you and you love events, also check it out. Or if you've got one of those flexible work opportunities, this might be the thing that you need to supplement your income and do something you love, but also be part of like a bigger system, right? Yeah. You come in, but you are part of the team, and what joy that you get to create that for other people.
Yeah, it definitely takes a village to deliver an event. There's no question about it. It's, they talk about like, war buddies and things like that. And I would never quite equate doing an event to going to war. But there's definitely a strong bond that comes out of working on events with a bunch of people.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for having this conversation with me, Jen. And those, if you're tuning in live or the replay, we so appreciate you being here. And if you have a question, put it in the chat with the hashtag replay. And I'm sure Jen will be watching for your questions, or send a question because we will be doing these Q&As again. Jen, congrats again on EventTech Academy. I wish you loads and loads of success with this. And if you're watching and you're thinking about it, talk to Jen. She's friendly, and learn more and see if it's the right fit for you.
Thank you, Deb.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, bye-bye.